Hi everyone, it's Tom from Lessons Unlocked, and in today's video I kind of want to cover some key lessons that I've learned in 2019. I had some time to reflect over the holidays, and I'm sure many of you have done it as well too, going into 2020, about some of the things that I personally learned that were pretty valuable to me, and whether you might find them useful or not, I figure I'd just still share them with you guys. So without further ado, I'll just jump right into it. That I think one of the main lessons I've learned was that after 21 months of leaving my corporate job, this month really truly marks that. I can't believe it's been 21 months. And the thing that I learned is you got to set your ego aside. Leave the ego at the door. I realized that it's okay to take a lower paying job. I think the most important thing that you have to ask yourself is, before you are okay with that, is knowing what your end goal is, your end destination, your vision, your goals. So I realized that having a lower paying job is okay, because I was trying to solve a problem of what do I need to do that is less demanding, that can still work on your side hustles, but yet still put food on the table, put a roof over your head, right? Once you come up with that number, I realized that it's okay for me to take a normal job versus what I did before was consulting, right? A very demanding job, a very demanding lifestyle. So with that said, I had to be okay with that, and then make sure I'm honest with myself and keep myself accountable in working on the side hustles, right? And building your own brand, building your own business, working with other clients, whatever it may be, right? So that was my key lesson I got from 2018, is stop being stubborn, set your ego aside. The second lesson that took me a while to adjust is stop caring about what other people think. I used to care about everyone's opinions and thoughts. I think it was the consulting nature, is to be very open-minded and listen. But when you're on your own, right, you have to help yourself versus helping them. So when you're in a helping mode in consulting, you spend more time listening to everyone's opinions and come up with a solution, right? But when it comes to yourself, what I learned is that you have to be selfish. You have to realize this is what you want to do. Other people's opinions doesn't matter. Be open to hearing it, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself what will make you happy, and whatever decision you have to make, if they have an opinion, a strong opinion about it, guess what? They're not the ones who have to live with that decision. You do. So you have to make that final decision yourself. And the number one thing I've always been asking myself when someone gives an opinion is this what I want to do? Do I agree with it? Is it going to make me happy at the end of the day? Is it going to make me happy? So that's number two. I learned to stop caring about what other people think. I do ask for help. But when it comes to other people who give you kind of unsolicited opinions and thoughts, I just stopped caring. So that's number two. Number three is very important. It took me a little bit to think about this one, but mental and physical health. When you're on your own, no one's going to go and help you when it comes to your personal health, right? Both mental and physical. You're gonna go through some tough times. I've gone through a lot of hurdles when it comes to, emotional, psychological, physical, when you're on your own, trying to figure things out and giving up, a previous life, right? That you're so used to, that you're used to that routine, that culture, that comfort, right? And I learned that, sometimes you just can't do it on your own. You just can't. And I told myself, it's time to pay for help. I learned to just, realize that you only got one life, and you really need to take care of yourself in order to help other people, right? In order for me to help other people, I have to take care of myself. So I decided to invest into therapy, mental therapy and physical, for like a fitness trainer and everything else, to keep you accountable. And sometimes you just need to accept the fact that you can't do everything on your own. You have to get help. And sometimes it costs money to get that help, right? And so That's what I've done. I learned that, and I'm so much better when it comes to my mental strength and my physical strength. And I'm living a much better, healthier lifestyle as a result of it. So that was another lesson that I learned in 2019, that it was time to just learn to ask for help and pay for it. The next lesson that I had to remind myself, because we were trained in this in consulting, was you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I mean, the whole time after leaving my job, I immediately became uncomfortable. And at first, it took me a long time to be okay with it and struggle. Because when you're used to generating wealth and making stable income, and all of a sudden you start to bleed money, you start to lose money, you start to spend a lot of money, and you're not making money. You live in a life of abundance to a life of scarcity. Like, it screws you up, right? But it really trains your mind differently, right? Because before I was comfortable, I wasn't thinking about it as much. I was just kind of going through the motions and doing your job, and you really don't have any time to think for yourself. But now, every day I think about it. Every day I'm thinking about how to create the next stream of income, how to survive essentially, right? And how do I keep this lifestyle, this flexible remote lifestyle, building your own thing, creating your own wealth your way. It's just, you just have to get used to it. And it took me, gosh, I want to say over a year before I learned to be okay with being uncomfortable, right? Not knowing what will happen next, not knowing that my next stream of income might go away. You don't know, right? It's just, now I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me as much, but like, you just have to learn to be comfortable when it comes to times where you're just feeling overwhelmed and just completely in discomfort, right? So the next big lesson that I learned, and this came from my therapy, was I spent my whole life, apparently, and this may not apply to anyone here, but personally for me, I spend more time thinking and then doing, right? I had to flip it around, because I was living that lifestyle where I was getting similar results, similar patterns in my life as a result of thinking and then doing afterwards, right? So I was tasked to kind of flip it around, and it was life-changing. I spent more time feeling and then thinking, like doing and then think later, right? Do it and then think and figure it out. Every decision I've made in 2019, or halfway through 2019, was whatever I felt like doing it, I just did it, and then think about how to deal with it later, right? Because when you spend more time overanalyzing and thinking, you become this, analysis paralysis situation, or you just not do it at all. And as an entrepreneur or a freelancer, you just have to do more and learn quickly and adjust. You just have to figure it out. And it's one of the reasons why I made the move, right? Because I felt like doing it, I did it, and then I just figure it out, figure out how to afford things, figure out how to move things around in my life and adjust to the new lifestyle. Like, you just figure it out. And I've never been happier. I mean, it's an amazing adjustment, but again, it's for me, because I spent my whole time thinking and then taking action, or lack of action really, to taking more action, doing things that I want to do, and then figuring it out. So yeah, that was another big lesson for me there. And then the next one is about less is more. I used to thought being really, really busy was being productive, coming from my previous life. Less is more when I start to narrow down the scope of work that I was doing and really staying focused and putting all my energy in it. Like, multitasking isn't really a good thing, right? When I start to narrow down the projects and opportunities and stayed focused, I got better results, faster results as a result of it. I'm sure that's pretty common knowledge when you're overwhelmed doing a whole bunch of things. But honestly, you need that time to think. You also need some time to be lazy, to be honest, to free your mind, right? But I learned that less is more. Do it in a way where you're narrowing it down to a specific niche, and it's really a great way to balance your life and just be happier, right? You're not, overwhelming yourself. So that's one thing that I realized towards I think middle of 2019 when I started to really narrow down to what I truly wanted to do. So the next lesson I learned is it's okay being vulnerable. I used to feel like this sense of pride where you don't show weakness. Coming from an executive leadership position, when you go in, you don't want to show any type of vulnerability. But I realized that doesn't matter when you're on your own, right? It's okay to show vulnerability. It's okay to lean on friends. And I've done it so many times. So for my friends who are watching this, thank you so much for being so supportive in my journey. I truly appreciate you guys. I wouldn't have survived without you. And you guys know that before, I wasn't as open and vulnerable until I started to embark on this whole crazy, life of mine, making all these changes. So I truly do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being there. I wouldn't know where I'd be without you. My next lesson, I got this from another entrepreneur that I was following years ago and I was starting to apply and practice what I preach too, is for everything that that you encounter that isn't worth your time, or you're not sure if it's worth your time, I always ask this question: don't spend more than 5 minutes on something that doesn't matter 5 years from now. So whatever it is that you're frustrated with, maybe you got in an argument, maybe it's an opportunity, maybe it's a feeling of regret, just ask yourself this question: does it matter 5 years from now? If not, don't spend more than 5 minutes on it. It's gonna help you move on faster and get onto the next task, get onto the next thing, right? I know that helped me a lot through 2019. But yeah, that was a saying that really kind of stuck with me for a while. And then the last lesson I learned is don't be so hard on yourself. My friends, you guys know this, I'm extremely hard on myself. I set myself with very high expectations, very high standards, and sometimes, we beat ourselves to death. What I now realize I've been practicing, or at least learned in 2019, was you just have to spend the time to look back. Some people say don't look at the past, look forward. But you know what? Sometimes you have to look back and see how far you came, of what you accomplished, right? And don't beat yourself up. That there's a lot of people who wish they could be in that same situation, but you just gone through it, right? Though it may not feel like you're progressing the way you would like to, but you're still steps ahead from other people who haven't even started that journey. So that was the last lesson that I really, truly relate to, because of the fact that, I struggle with that. And I always have to have friends who kind of constantly remind me that, hey, don't forget to look back at what you've already done. So that is pretty much it. And thank you for watching. Those are my key lessons for 2019. Hopefully, some of those lessons resonate with you. Other than that, I will catch you guys in the next one. All right, see ya. Bye.